Hello and welcome back to Wood Hill Park in the loft, which is still very hot, but I thought I'd do a little job after visiting the SVR. It got me thinking about my LNER teak coaches. I've not long come back from the SVR, the Severn Valley Railway, 1940s weekend, which I enjoyed again, but it seems to have sort of gone downhill even more since the last time I was there. Very expensive to go on a 2-day weekend like we did. Even though we were dressing up, there was no reduction in price, and if it wasn't for all the people dressing up, I think the event would have been pretty much a non-entity, because they've dropped a lot of things, including they used to have a 1940s wedding. Oh crikey, this bloke with his saw. Oh, carry on. Yeah, they used to have a 1940s wedding, and also at Kidderminster Station used to have mock air raids with people running about, and more sort of stalls and stuff going on. And there used to be George Formley. I didn't see him. They used to, years ago, have a reenactment of a battle at Highley Station, and that's long since gone. So all these little parts of the event are missing, and the price has gone silly. It's rocketed. So I'm not sure whether I will be going again. But while I was there, I was inspired by their teak coaches to do a little bit more with my teak coaches. So I'm going to have a go at improving them further. I did improve them a few years ago by adding some seraphine sepia, and this did a good job of improving them, but I still wanted to enhance them more. So I'll show you a little bit of what I've done and a little bit of the footage of me being in the 1940s. Hopefully it doesn't bore you silly. It's not for everyone. So there's a little bit of modelling, a little bit of the layout, and a little bit of the SVR. Here we go. Hopefully we're not too much DIY in the background. A few years ago I sort of tried to improve the teak finish on these Hornby coaches, and I used something called seraphine sepia. I think that's the right name of it, and it's a bottle of it, and this did a very good job of improving sort of the veneering, sort of the teak finish, even though I've since seen the coaches over at the Severn Valley Railway, and they're a bit more of a rosier wood finish. So in the future I might see if I can find a sort of reddish version that I could lightly go over and just give it more of a reddish tint. But it got me thinking about doing more to these coaches when I was over the SVR, as the roofs have always been rubbish. And if I show you the original roof colour, they're always like a creamy off-white. It never really looked right and makes it look very toyish. So even though I improved the teak finish, the roofs never looked right. I was never sure what actual colour they were, but after studying the stock on the SVR, they definitely are a sort of grey. In fact, they look like a bluey grey, leadish looking finish. and I thought I'd spray them. Just a sort of, well, I think it's just an undercoat grey actually, but it's a better finish, and they're not shiny either, so you get more of a matte finish with this paint. It's just a high coat grey undercoat really, but it lends itself to being a better colour, a better shade. But also I want to mess the roofs up a little bit with some soot, because the originals on the preserved line are absolutely filthy, and they've got patches of rework and repairs, so I want to sort of give them a bit more detail. And overall I'm starting to work on these just while it's a little bit cooler at the moment up here, and the word is it's going to get hot again, so this is just a quick one while I'm fiddling around doing a little bit of modelling, you might say. But I just thought I'd do this as a little project. This Hornby version is very easily stripped down. You're just pushing the clips either end, take the base off, which has got all the windows with it, and then it's a case of just sliding down each end to take the end pieces off. Very easy, and you just pop the bogies off prior to doing that, which leaves you with the sides and the roof, so you just need to mask up the sides. And I do this with some tape I've got really somewhere, if I can grab it. Right, it's frog tape I use. Apologies by the way for a bit of noise up here, but as you can guess I've got fans going full blast. It's currently a nice cool 27.7. Believe me, that's a lot cooler than it was last week. Anyway, just tear some tape off and just very carefully line it up with the edge of the roof. Might need to readjust it a few times, and then sort of push it up to the roof as you push it down, and then really push it down tight where the roof joins the sides, even using your nail to run along the tape. So you really push it into the gap between the roof and the sides. And when you're satisfied with that, you do the other side. One thing I neglected to show you is what I do first, which I'm doing it around the wrong way, is just to spray some isopropyl alcohol on the roof to degrease it, which I would normally do before putting the tape on, but doing it the wrong way round. Yeah, degrease the roof, then some very fine inlay. In this case it's 1200 grit, extremely fine, and then just slightly rub that over just so there's a key for the paint. Doesn't have to go mad, it's just to key paint, as I say, stop it flaking off, and then just give it a final wipe over. Now I'll check the masking still alright. But yeah, I'll do the roof, clean the roof first, which I have been up until now, but I just forgot because I'm talking on camera. Right, I'm now going to take that down the shed and spray it. I'll be back in a minute. Right, and I'm back. I tend to spray it on a piece of wood like this, so it's easy to hold and then spray. As I'm using cans in this case, it's very simple. Just build it up slowly so you don't get too much in one place that starts to run. So pass it a few times, then wait a bit to let it dry a little bit, and then just give it another couple of coats. And it's quite handy being able to spin it round on the end of a bit of wood. So this will dry pretty quick up here, as you may guess. Just take that off and then remove the tape. It usually does a pretty good job. You don't want to leave the tape on too long, you want to get the tape off as soon as possible. It's by no means perfect, but it's pretty dang good, and certainly an improvement on that horrible sort of pukey white finish or whatever that Hornby puts on, and it just modernises them a bit. Well, doesn't really modernise them, it makes them look more authentic, because they're pretty old, as you know. Yeah, another one I'm pleased with. So I'll just put that to one side, because it's got to harden. It's still, the paint will be very soft. So, and I'll get on and do some more. I've got a rake of, I think I've got a rake of 6 of these. I've already done 4, so I've got a couple more to do. I did have a bigger rake than that, but 6 seems to be a good size for a heritage loco to pull around on the layout. So, and I think I only did 6 with the teak finish improvements. I'm also going to, I think I'll spray the underframe. I want to replace the couplings with make, you know, an added nim pocket just to modernise them a bit. And I'm thinking about replacing the wheels, because they're plastic wheels. I've got some backbend wheels that should do the job. Yeah, this will update, which is a very basic model really of LNER teak coach. I can just show you the dismantling on camera of this one, what I'm just about to do next. This paint is drying extremely quick, and I've now finished all 6 of them. This is the undercut I've been using. High coat grey primer. I've also gone a bit further and I sprayed the interior, which is a horrible sort of pukey white as well, and I sprayed it just sort of reddy oxide really, so that when you look inside it will look like there's sort of material seats in a sort of burgundy colour, and I've added people in there as well, so just to add a bit more interest when you look through the windows. Just put it all back together. Which is reasonably easy. And when you look through the windows, you can barely see it, but there's a few people in there. When you come to reassemble these, Hornby have labelled up which way round they go, which I think is quite good. If you look underneath here, there's a star, and on the body, or the chassis, there's a star, which indicates it goes that way up, which is quite handy. And on here, the glasswork, there's another star, so you know it goes up that end. Very simple, but saves you sort of fiddling and trying to get it to go the wrong way. I've just had a go at enhancing the coaches even further by adding some Tamiya weathering powders, just some soot to the roof, which I'll wipe off in a minute. I don't want to overdo it. If I wet a cloth, I can then move it around, make it look more grimy. I think in time I will be adding some patchwork to the roof. For the moment, just a basic sort of sooty grind to it. And then what else I've been doing is improving the teak panels even further by adding this panel lining accent by Tamiya. Just putting it into the corners, the panelling, and letting it run down. This one's black, but it just darkens the teak without ruining the colour. Because they still look too light really, and you can rub the centre of the panels to make it lighter in the centre. And this just starts to darken it. with varnish, you tend to get darker and lighter points in the panels. And there's this panel lining really helps bring out that effect. Now this is one I've still got to do. If I remind you, the old Hornby version used to look like before I even started. Yeah, the original Hornby finish, and then I enhanced it to this with this Seraphim sepia. And I did this a while ago, but by adding this Tamiya panel lining, you get it onto a darker stage that looks even better. So I think I'm going to do this to all of them as well. But the original one looks anemic compared. So I'll just continue to darken it with the panel lining. If I zoom in, it looks particularly good where you get a build up in the framework of a real darker colour, and this looks like a real live thing where the varnish has run and built up in the corners. I like that effect. Now I've done the first two, and there's only a subtle difference between my first attempt and the enhancement I've just been doing on the teak finish. So even though it's very good, adding the panel wash makes it look even better, darker. I did have a good weekend at the SVR, but it seemed somewhat quieter than other weekends I've been to, and this might have been due to the ticket price and the heat possibly. Yeah, the 2-day ticket price for two of us, £143. A lot of people dressed up and did make a good effort, but on the whole it was quite a quiet event with a lot less going on than previous years, which was rather sad. And we was talking to a singer, a 1940s singer, and she hadn't had much of an audience most of, I think it was the Saturday, and we promised to come back and sort of mingle in the audience to bring people in for her, as she was just singing to herself some of the time, which was a real shame. But on the whole, we all enjoyed ourselves.
He's getting a panning shot.
Yeah.
Anyway. How do you do? You've got to be very careful with that. Yeah, I did it twice last week.
Over there. Now then, Mr. Punch, I want you to look after him. What for? Never you mind what for. What for? Well, if you must know, I want to go downstairs and make myself a nice cup of tea.
That would be the thing if it ain't got that swing.
What General Vagar called the Battle of Brass is over. I expect the Battle of Britain is about to begin. Upon this battle depends the survival of Christian civilization. Upon it depends our own British life and the long continuity of our institutions and empire. Very soon, the whole fury and might of the enemy will be turned on us. Hitler knows he will have to break us in this island or lose the war. If we stand up to him, all Europe may be free, and the life of the world may move forward as it brought a sunny Dublin. But if we fail, the whole world, including the United States, including all that we have known and cared for, will sink into the abyss of a new dark age, made more sinister and perhaps more attractive by the lights of perverted science. Let us therefore brace ourselves to our duties, and so bear ourselves that if the British Empire and its Commonwealth last for 1,000 years, men will still say, this was their finest hour. God bless their majesties. Advance, Britannia. Long live the cause of freedom. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Great cheers, Mr. Churchill. Hooray! Hooray! Hooray!
I do like that woman with that trouser thing. With the,
Oh,
that,
yeah.
That was a nice outfit.
Oh yeah, even the one we were talking to with Lauren Hardy.
Thanks for watching. It's just a quick update really of what I've been up to, which is not a whole lot due to the temperatures up here. And I'll be back with something maybe if the temperatures allow, but there's probably another heat wave on the way. I've heard that maybe next week we'll be in the high 30s again, so it's not modelling weather. This is just me checking in with you just to show you that I am doing a few bits and pieces, and I did enjoy my weekend away. Thanks again, and bye for now. I've been trying to film, but there's a lot going on in the background. There's some guy building some sort of summer house and making a real noise, sawing and cutting. I think when he's finished, he probably wants to enjoy the peace and quiet and enjoy his summer house. But in reality, probably somebody else will start another project, and so it goes on. It's like a big cycle of people doing DIY projects, and it seems to be never ending, and this makes it very difficult to film in the loft with the residents around me. And he's sawing a bit more up. Sounds like an angry wasp chasing me around the loft. Yeah, times we live in, I suppose. People never seem to want to stop improving their lives, but this sort of just continues to make a lot of noise and row for everybody else who's trying to enjoy their lives. Rant over. I shall try and get some more filming done in between the row that's going on outside. People did make a good effort to dress up though, and that's the fan on my DCC unit. As it's getting hot up here, it goes silly, and that sounds like somebody sawing something up as well as noises outside. Right, I'll try again because it's been quite hot. What the hell was that? Even my class 20's making funny noises now. I think it's because I put it on the Hornby auto setting, so it just keeps making strange noises. I'll take it off of that, especially when I'm going to talk to camera.